Hey YouTube, this is Archangel for Truth. And today my recording is for Mr. Jaun Galt, or rather, the man who refers to himself as Mr. Jaun Galt. In this case, Jaun Galt, you would be the pseudo Jaun Galt. Anyways, myself and Jaun Galt were on a live panel on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind's YouTube channel about a month ago. And we were engaged in a conversation pertaining to rights and laws and so forth. And one of the things that we discussed was the right to drive. And so various arguments were presented as to what the right to drive is or is not. And so Sovereign Soul was discussing how, as long as you're not engaged in any commercial capacity, that you have the right to drive or to travel. Actually, it doesn't matter what term you use, driving or traveling. Honestly, it doesn't, despite those who try to make a distinction between the two. I'm here saying that you have a right to do both, even a right to do both if you are in a commercial capacity, okay? And I'll go into that a little bit more, but before I go further into that, I wanted to address this with pertaining to Jaun Galt. So, sir, Jaun, you said that you had case law that showed Ninth Amendment defenses that failed in court cases as it pertained to driving. Now, you said, you would get those things back to me, but you never did. Now, I have since tried to remind you in your own YouTube channel about that I'm interested in those cases, because I've done my own research, and I haven't found any, especially SCOTUS cases that pertain to the Ninth Amendment, where they have made a ruling denying the right to drive. And that's very important because, you clearly said that there were cases pertaining to the Ninth Amendment, and I challenged that, and especially so pertaining to SCOTUS. As far as I have seen, I have not seen any ruling that denied a Ninth Amendment right to drive or to travel or anything else as that pertains to that capacity. But here's the deal. I have been waiting patiently, for you to show those cases, and I put this video up so that if you would like to post any of those Ninth Amendment cases, you have the ability to post it here, because, people have asked me about that. Whatever happened to that? And, I just tell them, well, he hasn't got back to me, and, so now I'm putting this video up so that you also have the right or the means to, put a reply, and you can post those cases that you feel relevant to the Ninth Amendment and pertaining to driving. And this way, we can see whether or not this was really adjudicated and determined correctly, by the judiciary. Now, I will say that even if there were any judicial cases out there that denies a Ninth Amendment right to drive, those cases would be, well, not only would they be wrong, but they would be exceeding the judicial powers. And here's why. So we all know, according to Marbury versus Madison, that the judiciary's authority is to interpret legislative law. The judiciary does not have the authority to determine what our rights are. Okay? Those things are very distinct. And I believe you know that, Juan Galt, and I don't know if you agree with me on that point, but certainly that is beyond the scope of the judiciary, and you certainly are free to speak on that issue if you decide to respond to this video. So even if there are court cases out there, which more than likely they're lower court cases, if at all, I don't think there are, court cases out there that are certainly not from the Supreme Court. I very much doubt that the Ninth Circuit would have ruled in that way. It's possible, that there are cases out there that I'm unfamiliar with, but I've given you an opportunity to present that information, and it's been about a month since we've had our conversation, and I'm hoping that you will get back to me sometime soon as it pertains to those issues. But now, the other thing is I mentioned the fact that I believe that it is not just a right to drive, it's not just a right to travel, and it's not just a right to operate in a commercial capacity. I would say to you that these things are all your rights, okay? And part of those rights are covered by the Ninth Amendment, okay? There is no constitutional right described in the Constitution as it pertains to travel, but it's an unenumerated right. Well, the same is true with carrying on commercial activity. You have a right to buy or sell without the government. The government has, they want to use the Commerce Clause to control you. I understand that. I get the reason and motivation behind that. But you have a right to engage in commercial activity without the government's blessing. That's just the reality. And that's historically factual, and ultimately what it is the government wanting to control everything, wanting to regulate everything, are denying us our rights, and most especially when it comes to unenumerated rights. You see, because you have individuals within law enforcement and individuals within the judiciary who think, oh, unless it's part of the Constitution, you don't have a right for anything else. But the Ninth Amendment, it tells us otherwise. It tells us that we have rights that are not limited to the enumeration of the Constitution. And that these rights, we retained these rights. We didn't obtain these rights. And you see, and this is also why the 10th Amendment is not just a state power thing, it's your power. That's why it says, or to the people. But individuals within law enforcement and individuals even within the judiciary, many of them don't understand this. There are some that do. And so I'm fortunate enough to be associated and learning from individuals that do. And that's why I say that it is indeed your right. And so, Mr. Juan Galt, I hope that you will respond to this video. I hope you will present whatever case law you feel relevant to the Ninth Amendment as it pertains to driving. And this will help people to see, what the issues are as it pertains to this issue. So with that being said, I don't like to do long videos because I know my attention starts getting lost after too long, and I'm sure yours does too. So with that being said, I want to wish you all good holiday season, and God bless you all, and please hit that like button. It's free. I don't monetize my channel, so, at very least, I appreciate any likes. That would be motivating for me to do more recordings, certainly. And ultimately, we all need to stand on our rights and our freedoms. That's very important, especially in these days. So, with that, God bless everybody. Bye-bye.